Welcome to episode 2 of Uncontained. I am your host, Aaron Static Render, and today we talk to a self-proclaimed Rootin' Tootin' country western punk rockin' Mickey Mouse ear wearing motherfucker. Yes, Scott Arens, formerly of the band Freak Label, now with 2-Bit Scoundrels, and we talked to him about the transition from a brutal metal band to a punk rock country western band and what all that entails, along with his trip to Disney World, and also, painting eyebrows on a dog. You'll have to listen to find out. Thank you for choosing to listen to Uncontained. Here is episode 3 with musician Scott Arens.
Well, let's talk about music for a bit. Tell me about your new band, 2-Bit Scoundrels.
Okay. Well, if you can handle it, it's a country western punk rock. So it's kind of, I don't know. I guess growing up, I was a Iowa farm kid. My parents are farmers, so my grandparents always listened to country western, and so as a kid, I'd be riding in the car with them, and they'd always be playing Hank Williams or Willie Nelson or Waylon Jennings and, all the country music greats and stuff. So it just that side's always kind of stuck with me. So then after Freak Label, a band that I was a part of for 15 years,
Yes,
it was just time to do something different. And, I've always been a metalhead and hard rock and punk guy. And so it just kind of felt right to me to mix this country western and punk rock together. I don't know.
So how'd the transition from Freak Label to 2-Bit Scoundrels happen?
Just, I don't know. There was like a 2-year period that went by. Maybe not quite that long. Maybe a year period that went by, and I missed being on stage, and I don't know. I guess I just kind of got burned out of metal. I just got burned out, and I had to do something different. And so I just kind of started going back to my roots, and I fell in love with country music again, and not bro country, actual country.
And, not like she thinks my tractor's sexy or anything like that.
Yeah, barbecue stain on my white t-shirt, that bullshit. No,
yeah,
just like Waylon Jennings and Hank. I mean, I love Hank Williams. I mean, him and George Jones and some of the other guys, are the godfathers of country western. So, and Johnny Cash, all those guys. It's just good American music.
When it was actually country music and not just pop with a twang.
Right.
I'm still not going to call myself a big fan of country music, but I can at least respect like the old school country music that, was raw and not this manufactured Kenny Chesney crap.
Right.
And that's probably even an outdated reference to country music now. I don't know. Is he still around?
I have no idea.
Fair enough. Let's move on from Kenny Chesney. Okay, interesting transition. So what I see with a country background came from rolling around with your grandparents and listening to the classic country. How'd you get the idea to mix punk with the country music?
Well, the thing about country music is you can really, it's such a versatile form of music. You can pretty much do anything with it. I mean, we do a cover of Waylon Jennings' "Good Hearted Woman," and I guess just driving in my car one day, I was listening to a live version of "Good Hearted Woman" with Willie Nelson, singing backup and harmonies with Waylon, and it's really just punk rock slowed down and done with a twang. I mean, we basically just sped it up a little bit, put a little bit of distorted guitars on it, and and it worked really well. I mean, you can pretty much do anything with country. You can turn it into blues, you can turn it into rock, you can turn it, it's a really versatile music because it is so. I think it's just because there's such a basic element behind the music. It's. I mean, yeah, you could get into Nashville chicken picking stuff that is incredible. I mean, those guys are incredible players. But the thing about country is you know because there is a basic underlying rhythm behind it. It's you can really do anything with it, and that's the beauty of it. And that's what we've come to find out. That I mean, we even did a cover of "Home on the Range," and we just sped it up. That's all we did to it. We just sped it up,
Really?
and it just becomes punk rock. So it's
So for somebody who can't picture this or envision it in their head, how does it compare to, say, rockabilly?
um that's a good question. There's not really rockabilly has more of a 50s rock element to it.
Okay.
Ours is more the theme song of Bonanza, like down the low, down the low, now, now, down the low, down the low, down, now, like that, but more sped up and more a little like heavier. So
Okay.
it's more
Is it distorted too, or is it more of a clean sound like old country music?
um both actually. Some songs are more distorted. We actually have a handful of just straight up country western songs, like straight up 3/4 time, 4/4 time, just Hank Williams style um, songs. I have one song that it's called "Shallow Water." It's like a Louisiana swamp music, kind of like something reminiscent of the movie "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou."
Okay, like the
Um,
Soggy Bottom
yeah,
Boys.
we have a song that's pretty similar to that I came up with one day when I was playing on my banjo, and yeah, we have one song that is called "Greener Pastures." It's just basically about how society always sees men as the cheaters, but I would say women are just as guilty of it. Um, and it's basically about how women are always looking for greener pastures, always looking for that man that's just a little bit better,
Yeah.
and for the moment of happiness, and it's kind of a almost like a kind of like a Dropkick Murphy style, but kind of mixed with a little bit of bluegrass. So it's just kind of a little all over the place.
Okay, I've been wanting to hear, like, I've been hearing you talk about this band before I moved out here to California 3 years ago, and I've been wanting to hear what it sounds like, but I've never come across it. Do you have any recordings up anywhere?
I did put some on Facebook, but I am gonna put some. I'm gonna upload them again. We do have a Facebook page. It's just Two Bit Scoundrels. Um, and yeah, it's just I tried to upload them to the that page. So if you go on Two Bit Scoundrels Facebook page, just keep checking, and I will upload some songs. They're just garage demos, actually recorded on my iPad on GarageBand. So, but no, I mean it. They you get the idea, you get the gist. So, and some of them, I mean, some of them are just trail songs. Um, I'm a huge fan of westerns, country, or like shoot 'em ups and westerns, and a lot of the songs came from ideas of just movies that I saw and just kind of almost done in a cinematic way, like cinema music.
Okay.
So, like, the cowboy who's on an epic journey. One of the songs, "Damned on Rio Grande," is about that. It's about a guy who's trying to get back to his woman. So, And a lot of it's just fictional, just
Okay.
pretty much writing
So
stories.
where do you come up with your inspiration for the stories if they're fictional and not necessarily based off of real life?
Just a lot of movies, uh, or just sometimes I'll just make up a. We have a song called Three Shots, and it's straight up punk rock with a bluegrass breakdown. I do a little lead bluegrass standard. It's called Cripple uh, Cripple Creek, and it's just a little bluegrass thing that a lot of different players play. You hear it on Hee Haw, um,
Okay.
but it's just we do like a little 30-second breakdown, and we go back in the song. But our drummer wrote that song, and he just wrote a fictional shoot 'em up about a guy being in a bar playing cards who gets caught cheating. It's just, you know, kind of a lot of them are just based off of stories or movies or old west kind of ideas. So
Okay. And how does writing for two-bit scoundrels compare to the writing process from your previous band, Freak Label?
apples to oranges. Uh, Freak Level was a much more complicated metal rock. Towards the end, it was more of a prog metal band, so it was very well. I guess I was a lot more pretentious. Uh, you know, it had to be perfect, and we were musicians. You know what I mean? Kind of that
Yeah.
pretentious musician artist kind of guy, and so it was. I mean, I'm proud of everything that I wrote, and Freak Label was definitely we had some really good music, but I think what burned me out from that band and metal and a lot of that kind of stuff was just the pressure to create something epic, and it took all the fun out of the music, and the thing that I've found with Two Bit Scoundrels and just kind of going back to this country style basis of writing is that I can have fun again, and it's I mean, yeah, we want to write good music, but at the same time it's more about having fun and
Yeah.
just letting loose and drinking a beer and playing a country song. And it's definitely been a great experience. So, but yeah, I mean I miss playing with the guys that I played with for so long, like Ryan, my right hand man in Freak Label. I mean, it's different because now in Two Bit Scoundrels we're just a three piece. So it's odd not having the other guitar player there to bounce off of and write harmonies together and melodies, and so
So
doing a three piece has definitely been a huge challenge for me because I'm playing guitar and singing, which what I did in Freak Label, but it's all me now. I don't
yeah.
have the other guy to help back me up. So
Is there a second vocal or is it just you on vocals and who's playing bass, who's playing drums in your band?
um, actually, Adam Micris, the original bass player for Freak Label, is doing bass with us. So which was great because I hadn't seen him in a few years, 3, 4 years. Um, Very seldom did I see him, and then he moved back to the area, and so we hooked up, and he decided he wanted to start playing again, so he took over on bass, and then Luke Crow is our drummer. So, and all three of us love country western music. Luke's from Missouri, so it's
So
just
it's kind of born
he's
into
just
it.
kind of born into it. But no, I mean Adam does some backup vocals, and Luke just kind of hollers, does some yips and hollers, so which we do at random.
Just random yips in the background, like,
Yeah,
oh, it's got to be classic.
it's fun, man.
Um,
It's just good stuff. So, but I think people too. I mean, living in Iowa, we're a very rural state, but at the same time, we're not. We're a northern
Yes.
state, so people like country, but when you play at the bar, in the bar scene, I think a lot of people they're kind of torn because they don't know what to take from it, or they don't know how to act, or they don't know how to react to it, because it's different.
Like, what do you mean by that?
Um, Not in a bad sense. Like we haven't gotten any negativity. It's always all of our comments have been compliments. People like it, but it's just so different than anything else in town. Most people are either rock or punk or bro country, cover band country. We're pretty much, from what I've heard, we're pretty much the only band in our area that's really what we are. So um, it's just kind of like people are like, well, I don't know how to dance to that, or I don't know what to do. How do I, do I? So it's just kind of,
Do I headbang or line dance?
yeah, it's just kind of that whole like, what do I do? And my comment is just chill out and listen. Just drink a beer and listen. you know. So, but no, man, it's the reactions have all been good. So makes me happy, I guess.
That's exciting. That's exciting. Good. It's always good to get positive feedback when you put something out there, especially when you decide to go a whole new direction with it.
Yeah, and it really is. Because you always hear, and I'm not gonna, I guess I can't really think of any band off the top of my head, but you'll hear a band that goes solo and they say, oh, it's completely different than what I've done before, and then you listen to it and you're like, no, it's pretty much exactly what your last band was. And
Yeah.
in this case, it really isn't. I went from being in a heavy metal band to a country western band, so it's about as far as on the other end of the spectrum as you can get. So
Yeah, there's possibly a little overlap in there, because there's some metal bands like say Pantera, like Cowboys from
mhm.
Hell type thing that incorporated some Western type theme
Yeah,
into it, but their music showed really no sign of it. But
no,
it's interesting, except for on one CD they put out with David Allen Coe on vocals.
Rebel versus
It
Rebel.
was Rebel versus Rebel, that's right. And also Hank Jr.'s on one of those
Oh,
tracks
I
too.
didn't know that.
Yeah, he's just on one track.
I'm a
It's called like Get Out of My Life or something like that.
I'm a huge Co fan. So I listen to his greatest hits CD probably weekly. But
Right on.
so yeah, I mean he's been a big influence too. I just think that there's something very American about country music that like jazz and blues, which are really truly the only two American-made genres. Country has obviously been influenced by Europeans, but there's still something very American about country western. And before rock and roll came about, I mean, the majority of Americans listened to country western. I mean, Hank Williams was a huge star. I mean, even Ray Charles was a country western singer before he became what he ended up as, R&B gospel.
Yeah.
So if you watch the movie Ray, Jamie Foxx, as playing Ray, talks about doing country western. So it's just, and then rock came along and then music changed forever. But um, yeah, I mean, so I just think there's something really American about it, and it's just fun to play.
Okay. With this vast contrast in music, what were your idols or your inspiration as a kid? Who did you look up to musically?
Um, Slash, definitely, from Guns N' Roses, who I got to meet. Um,
Awesome. How'd that
I
happen?
met him in Des Moines. One of my close friends bought me a meet and greet when Velvet Revolver played the Valor Ballroom in Des Moines, and so I got to meet Slash and Matt Sorum and Duff McKagan. Scott Weiland was a couple hours late because that's what he does. And yeah, so I got to meet those guys. It was pretty cool. Slash definitely. I mean, Guns N' Roses in general are pretty much how I got into rock.
Okay.
But I mean, a lot of the '80s rock. When I was a kid, your junior high kid. I mean, I mean, I remember we both went through the grunge days. So, I
Yes.
mean, I loved Alice in Chains and STP, and all the grunge bands were a huge influence. Korn, the first Korn album was a huge influence into heavier
I
music.
think I think Alice in Chains is actually unfairly thrown in with grunge just because they're in from Seattle.
Yeah, they really weren't. They
Like
really weren't a grunge band.
a lot of people refer to them as grunge, but they weren't all mopey and
Mm-mm.
all like the world hates me. There were songs like that, but for the most part, they were pretty just a rock band.
Yeah, just like Pearl Jam.
Yeah, yeah. But being from Seattle, you're automatically grunge.
But even like, yeah, I guess if you really look at it, Soundgarden really wasn't grungy to me.
No,
I mean, they were pretty much. I mean, if you listen, like even Bad Motorfinger, like Rusty Cage, that's not really grungy. That's more rock,
exactly. It's
heavy
like
rock.
yeah. So like when people start just throwing every band from Seattle into the grunge thing, it just like doesn't quite set right. But I understand why it happens, just because like Nirvana being so big, they
Yeah,
kind of established like even though they weren't there first on the scene, they kind of were the heads of the scene for a while.
yeah. It's like anything. Society has to put a classification on everything.
Yep.
And it's sad but true. Not to quote Metallica, but that's the way it is. So, and those guys are a huge influence too. I mean, in Iron Maiden, I mean, love that band. So it's just, I don't know. I'm a sponge. There's a lot. I love big band music. I love classical. I grew up playing classical. That was kind of like my
how
bread and
how old
butter.
were how old were you when you started playing guitar?
Mm,
And was guitar your first instrument?
no, recorder was in fourth grade. Uh, but then
Play hot cross buns with the
hot,
best of them.
hot cross buns and little Mary had a lamb. Wait, Mary had a little
Mary
lamb.
had a little lamb.
Yeah,
Little Mary had a big
yeah,
lamb.
little. Yeah, and then I started playing trumpet. I played trumpet from fifth grade to my senior year in high school. And then I was going to go into the military, and then um, was going to try to audition into the Air Force band and play trumpet, but I couldn't get into the military for medical reasons. And so I just that was kind of put an end to that. But yeah, I started playing guitar when I was 15 or 16, so
15 or 16.
somewhere around there. I was a
I don't know.
freshman or sophomore in high school, and yeah, I fell in love with it. I mean, once there's a lot of instruments out there, and there's some. I mean, piano. I mean, I think piano is the mother of all instruments, but it I think there's just something about playing guitar that is just so captivating. I don't know. It's just I guess it's for people who are players can probably understand. I guess my point, but there's just something very um, organic about it. Something very caveman about playing guitar, and
Interesting.
it's just
Like,
uh, because you can sing and play while you're playing piano. I mean, I don't play piano, but I don't know. I guess maybe everybody has a different feeling on it, but there's just something about sitting down with an acoustic guitar and just playing a song and singing it. I don't know. It's just there's something about guitar that is just captivating. Because I don't get the feeling that I get with a guitar as I do with trumpet. Like guitar, I don't know. I'd like to play the trumpet. I still get it out every once in a while and play my high school fight song and and Frosty the Snowman. But I just don't get it. It's not. I don't get the same feeling as I do when I play guitar. I don't know.
Frosty the Snowman.
I can still play it.
Are you gonna incorporate trumpet into Two Bit Scoundrels?
I've actually thought about it because I thought about if I did like a Tex-Mex song, I could probably incorporate the trumpet. I mean, Flea did in Red Hot Chili Peppers, so
Yeah,
I mean, there's no reason why we can't do it, right?
exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
It's a motto to live by.
we've dabbled. We've talked about trying to find a violin player, someone who can come and do some fiddle, but it's just I'm sure there's those people in the community that do it. It's just in our if we were down in Appalachia, West Virginia, Kentucky, I'm sure fiddle players here are a dime a dozen, but they're just
Yeah,
I'm sure there's people at the surrounding colleges that play, or maybe some high school kids in my neighborhood here. But
yeah, it's
I
a possibility.
but I need someone who can really rip,
It's kind of amazing though. Like when you said violin at first, I was thinking smooth, classical,
Mhm.
like everything like that. But then it's the same instrument by a different name, fiddle. You think like the devil went down to Georgia type thing, you know?
Yeah.
It just completely different connotation for the same instrument from two different words.
Well, what's funny about fiddle is a verb. A violinist fiddles. So it's in the South. We all know how their education system is.
Man, hand me that damn there fiddle, boy.
Fiddle is a verb and a noun.
Yes, kind of like Google.
Yeah. So a violinist fiddles. A fiddler,
Okay.
like a fiddler. So, but I mean, but then fiddle can also be a style because fiddle refers to it's a noun, it's a verb, and it's a genre of music. Because fiddle is typically as a term that's used in bluegrass. So if you're playing bluegrass, you're fiddling. So
Okay.
it's kind of I don't know,
I, I learned something today.
and I don't even,
Now
and I might
can
not
you
even.
noodle on a fiddle?
What's that?
Can you noodle on a fiddle?
I don't know. I don't play fiddle,
Okay, well,
but I'm sure you
uh,
could.
you could probably noodle on a fiddle because that's also a verb and a noun, but you eat the noun
Oh, that's true.
because pasta noodle.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
right.
I'm I got nothing. I got nothing.
It's also a swimming, um, a float.
Fishing with your
Well,
hands.
you can. Oh, that's right. But then in the swimming pool, there's those little noodles that float.
The foam
Yeah, the
noodle.
foam noodles.
Yes.
So
How far off track can we get with noodle?
and my girlfriend calls my dog Noodle.
Really?
Yeah, just some nickname she gave him when he was a puppy.
Right on. I saw a picture of your dog on Facebook with eyebrows painted on. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was that was her idea. We were sitting outside one day, and we have two dogs, and I don't know. She was just had some craft paint out, and she put eyebrows on the dog, and it was hilarious. And we both sat and just laughed uncontrollably, and the paint stayed on him for like a week.
Really?
Yeah,
I was actually kind of wondering how long that lasts. I didn't know if it was like latex house paint or what, but
yeah, just acrylic craft paint.
did you walk the dog around town
Oh
and
yeah,
have people?
oh yeah. Because our
Can
neighborhood,
only imagine the looks that you got.
well, there's a lot of people that walk dogs in our neighborhood, so we we encountered people, a lot of people, and kids love it too.
You should like constantly paint different color eyebrows on the dog.
Well, what's funny is the one dog, the older dog, will do like the raised eyebrows kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was even funnier because then you would actually see the movements of the eyebrows. So when she would like do the whole like she's confused look or she's something is interesting or is a cause of interest, she'd like raise the eyebrows and you'd really see it with the paint on there. It's hilarious. Life's too short, man. You
Oh,
gotta have fun.
exactly. And animals are a good source for
Oh
it.
yeah, and the dogs they don't know. They're just like, "What are you doing to me?" And then
As long as it's not hurting them, it's all.
yeah, they're not self-aware, so they don't give a shit.
Just please don't dress your dogs up with tutus. That's all I'm
Oh no,
saying.
and he's had one on, not, but it wasn't my doing.
Okay, all right. There's certain things that are all right to put on a dog, but a tutu is pushing it.
He had a
And also like winter jackets on dogs, that's a little ridiculous too in my mind. They have a
yeah,
fur coat for a reason.
yeah. Well, especially like I have a lab, black lab. I mean, he's a water dog. I mean, he's bred to hunt game and jump in rivers and creeks, and so I mean, I mean, obviously here in Iowa, where you know how cold it can get at times.
Yes.
20 degrees below zero. I mean, yeah, then that's too cold for him. He goes out and does his thing, and he runs back in the house. But I mean, if it's 20 degrees outside, he's a
Yeah,
dog. He's bred for
he's
it.
fine.
He's bred for it. They're derived from the wolf. But I like to have four seasons. It's Frankie Valley in the Four Seasons. No, I mean, I like Four Seasons. It's just I don't know. It's a good change. But I was in Southern California a month ago, and it was pretty nice. So
What were you doing out in Southern California?
Disneyland. Oh
What
yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Did you see the Toy Story people and yell Andy's coming?
No.
Because theoretically, from what I hear, they're supposed to all the toys are supposed to fall down and not move when you yell Andy's coming.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I've heard.
No, we went out there and we did California Adventure one day and Disneyland the second day, and it was intense, but it was amazing. I mean, it really is. It's um just makes you feel like a kid again.
Yeah.
It's you look at all the things and it just reminds you of watching Disney movies and drinking Mountain Dew with your friends. It is. And then,
Right on.
and then there's the classic scene, all the characters. And I got to hug Donald Duck and he gave me shit because I had a Mickey Mouse shirt on. He shook his fist at me and then he hugged me. But you see these little kids and these toddlers and they just walk up to Mickey Mouse and because to them that's the real Mickey. And they walk up and they have their arms out and Mickey has his arms out and it just about brings a tear to your eye. It is like it's
Yeah.
like one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. And that's, and I think that's what Walt Disney was trying to portray, that it's a beautiful place. So, and what's crazy is everyone was in good spirits. Like even if you'd like bump into someone, they'd be like, "Oh, excuse me, that was my fault." Like there was no like. I'm sure that doesn't happen all the time, but I mean, both days that I was there, everyone was in good spirits. Um, it was the happiest place on earth, like they say.
Well,
So,
maybe that's what we need. We need people running around in Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck outfits throughout all the cities in the world. And maybe, just maybe, everybody would be happy and be like, oh, pardon me, friend. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bump into you.
yeah, I
Or else
don't
they'd be
know.
like, who the hell is this guy in the suit in front of me?
Have you been to a Disney?
I have been to both the
Oh,
Disneys.
nice.
I have not been to Euro Disney, though.
Oh, there's one in Tokyo too.
I haven't been to Tokyo Disney either. I've been to the American Disneys.
Yeah, there's a resort in Hawaii that I've heard that it's called Alani or Awani or Alani, but it's not really. There's no rides. It's just like a beach hotel. I think there's like a water. There's like a couple water slides, cool water slide things, but it's more of just like a relaxation kind of thing. Just kind of.
Hmm.
But yeah, dude. As soon as I can go back, I'm going back.
Right on, right on. What was your favorite? Did you go on any rides? And what was your favorite ride
I'm gonna have to
while you were
say
out there?
I'm gonna have to say the Indiana Jones ride is the best. I mean, the Star Wars ride was awesome. The Cars ride is incredible in California Adventure. Tower of Terror. They're all, I mean, there's not a bad ride in there. It's just that they're just some are better than others. I mean, even like Space Mountain was great. Splash Mountain was great. But yeah, definitely the Indiana Jones ride is the cat's pajamas. It's
The cat's pajamas.
yeah, dude, it's awesome. And it's amazing to me how they do. I mean, even Pirates of the Caribbean, they've upgraded it since the movies, the films. I mean, even that is incredible with the animatronics and some of those robots now that they have at Disney, and I'm sure like Universal and all these places have the same technology, but they move so fluid. And then when you're in the ride or you're going through the ride and with the different lightings and angles, they look like real people. It's incredible.
Really?
Oh, dude, it's incredible.
It's been years since I've been, and back then it was like you could clearly tell they were robotic and like, all
Hmm.
jerky movements going back and like forth. Say like in the Pirates of the Caribbean, I think there might have been somebody with a pickaxe trying to break out of a jail cell or
Yeah,
something. And you're like, oh yeah, that's clearly a robot, and you could tell where the people were.
yeah, yeah, dude, it's amazing. I mean, some of the old stuff they've kept it original on purpose. They want to keep it
Yeah.
the original, but like even some of the 3D stuff is incredible. We went into like the Star Wars ride. It's all 3D. It's a 3D kind of like a flight simulator thing. But like when you're waiting in line to go into the Star Wars ride, there's C-3PO and R2-D2 having a conversation. But they're robots, but they move just like they do in the movie. It's amazing.
Oh, cool.
And
Uh,
yeah, dude, it's awesome.
uh, Growing up as a kid, were you a big Star Wars fan?
Yeah, my older brother actually is still a huge Star Wars fan. I just kind of lost interest in it as I grew up, but um, yeah, I mean, I still like Star Wars. I'm still gonna go see the new film when it comes
I
out.
was gonna ask, are you looking forward to seeing the new film, or are you kind of dreading it after the last three that came out?
No, because J.J. Abrams did an amazing job with Star Trek, so I think he'll do an amazing job with the Star Wars. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I really am.
Right. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it out. I haven't checked out any of the Star Wars, Star Trek ones, just because as a kid I could not get into Star Trek. It just the atmosphere in it just seems so void of character,
Hmm.
so sterile, like a doctor's office,
Yeah,
and I just couldn't watch it. But I did hear that the new Star Trek movies were really good.
yeah, dude, they're awesome. And the thing about Star Trek is Gene Roddenberry.
Roddenberry.
He really he really was a genius in a sense of when you're a kid and you're watching Star Trek, you don't really understand a lot of the subliminal messaging and some of the things he's trying to say until you become an adult. And well, like one example that I've noticed is Captain Kirk and Spock. I think their characters are really a representation of us as a society. I don't want to get political,
Hmm.
but I think there's a huge movement in our political scene of or even society with education and just different society norms, but you know do we want to be a society of Captain Kirks who are, leaders and risk takers and are willing to, even when the odds are all against him, he still, tries? Or do you want to be
Yeah.
a society of Spocks where we think about things logically and we base our decisions on that, And I think he was using that as an example back then, that kids aren't going to pick up on that, and that's kind of a thing that I think what he was trying to get across is we need both, and it's kind of like a checks and balance system,
Yeah,
you know,
definitely. Good.
because in one aspect, yeah, you want to be Captain Kirk, you want to be, you know, in a sense, Superman, but like Kenny Rogers said, you got to know when to hold him, know when to fold him, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You got to think about things too, and so yeah, I highly recommend the new Star Trek films. J.J. Abrams did a great job. Um, Benedict Cumberbatch, awesome as Khan. He's great in everything he does. Um, and even Chris Pine is Kirk, awesome. And Zachary Quinto, awesome. He was born to play Spock. I mean, he looks just like Spock, and he was spot on. He was probably, in my opinion, the best. He did the best job of playing the character as correctly as possible.
I've seen pictures of and previews of it, and yes, he does look a lot like Leonard Nimoy did
Mm-hmm.
as Spock. So it is kind of freaky,
Yeah,
in a way,
and just
the
how
resemblance.
and I mean, just like the way he stands and walks and moves. I mean, he looks just like Spock's original character. It's weird, real weird. It's
Yeah,
good. That's good though. I mean, he's a good actor, so check him out.
I will have to do that. I will have to do that. I'm sure they're probably on Netflix or Redbox.
I think the second one is on Netflix. It was. I don't know if it is anymore. So yeah. Now that we're way off the topic of music.
Yeah, well, that's all right. We can go wherever
Good.
we want on this. And what happened to your sound, man? You sound really muffled.
Oh, maybe I accidentally put my finger over the mic.
Okay,
Is it better now?
it is.
Okay. I was kind of bummed out the other day because I bought this Mickey Mouse shirt at Walmart before I went to Disneyland. It's a picture of Mickey. He's like all buffed out and like he looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like he has that bodybuilder Mickey.
Okay.
And so my girlfriend's daughter came home from school the other day and said that she'd seen some kid in her class or some kid at her school that had the same shirt. And I was like, damn it! I thought I was
You
the
need
only
to go
I thought I was the only one that had that shirt.
go beat that kid up. Go beat that kid up right now. Break into his house, steal the shirt, burn it in front of him, and be like, "Yes, rightfully, I am the only one with this shirt."
Yep. Yeah, but you get put in jail for that stuff. So
Not for a good cause.
yeah, Walt would be proud.
Yes, Walt Disney would have your back when they unfreeze him.
Yeah. He's not. They're when they unfreeze him.
When they unfreeze him. Right now, he can't really do much for you, but do you think he actually is frozen in a cryogenic vault?
No, I think he's in the ground somewhere. Who knows? It's possible.
That would be crazy one day Walt Disney comes back.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I mean,
Be
dude,
like Jesus.
that's what's sad is you don't even know what to believe anymore. You read all these stories online. It's all bullshit. None of it's real. News has become pretty much opinion. It's not fact anymore. So, you're scrolling through Facebook and Twitter and you see all these headlines and bogus stories. You don't even know you don't even know what to believe anymore. So,
Everything you read on the internet, believe
yeah.
it.
That's my boyfriend. He's a French model. I don't know.
But yeah, I know, man. Walter Cronkite would be pissed if he was alive today, you know?
He
Like
would be.
he gave news. He didn't care about like the slant. I agree. The problem with like a lot of things today are all the news networks that give people a chance to go and just be surrounded by people with their own beliefs and not hear what the actual story is. You know,
Oh yeah.
like if you're leaning left, go to a left one, like go to CNN. If you're a right one, go to Fox News, and you'll feel comfortable. And you'll be like, yeah, that guy's right. And the other guys are scumbags when everybody else is vice versa on it, you know?
Yeah, it's horrible. We become such pussies in this country. We become so offended, and I don't understand it. I don't get it. I guess it. Even with this whole bully thing, we're not even teaching kids to stand up for themselves anymore. The um.
If they do get beat up in a fight, though, they'll at least get a participation ribbon.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that. I don't know. It's a different world than I grew up. I'm not even very old. I'm only 30, almost 34, but it's so different than when I was a kid. I mean,
Yeah, you actually had a chance to lose when you were a kid and know what it feels like to lose.
yeah,
I don't remember what NFL player it was just recently said that he's not allowing his kids to um, keep participation
yeah,
trophies or ribbons. Um, he'll let them keep trophies when they actually win a trophy. You
hmm
know, he wants them to teach them the value of winning and losing and hard work to get to where you need to be.
yeah. I mean, when we were kids, I mean, you lost, you lost. Better luck next time. And it made you want to win. Now it's just like there's no incentive to win because you're gonna get a freaking ribbon or medal or candy or whatever the hell you're gonna get. It doesn't matter anymore. And I don't know, this whole bully thing, tell the teacher. All you're gonna do is piss the bully off more, and he's gonna jump you after school.
Yeah.
He's gonna call you a sissy, tattletale. If you teach that kid to stand up for himself, yeah, you don't want to condone violence, but um, you can't teach kids to be victims, and that's what we're doing. So,
hmm It was James Harrison, he plays for the Pittsburgh
mm,
Steelers, who wouldn't let his kids keep a participation trophy. But yeah, it's not doing anybody any favors, you know?
no, and people, I don't know. It's not good, and I feel, I don't know. Either the future is going to be great or it's going to be really shitty. I don't.
And
Yeah,
and people need to feel like beat down and stuff like that growing up, and that's how you get all the entertainers and people in the world, you know?
yeah,
It comes from having to fight for attention, having to,
yeah,
act out in a different way.
yeah,
So if everybody is given credit for doing nothing, there'll be no need to fight for attention.
right.
And this comes from a middle child.
Yeah. I'm second child out of five.
Yeah, huh? You're almost middle there,
Almost middle.
but
That's my brother Dave. I don't know. It's just, yeah, I don't know. This next presidential election is, I don't know. Things are going to get nasty in this country.
yeah.
There's just no general consensus anymore. We become so divided because of our diversity that there used to be a general I mean, people had disagreements, but there was a general consensus, and I just don't think that it exists anymore.
No, no. Can you imagine if Trump wins though?
I don't know. God.
Part of me wants to see it,
Yeah,
but most of me does not. It's
yeah,
like how interesting would that be? A president that would be willing to speak his mind and like actually owns up to what he says. The whole have you watched any of the debates?
I haven't.
I watched the first one just for, basically to see what Trump did. And they called him out right away and be like, Mr. Trump, you've been known for calling women dogs and degrading them and everything like that. He's like, well, that's not entirely true. Yes, I did call one woman a dog, and that is Rosie O'Donnell, because she is a dog and she is vile and a horrible person. But I am not like talking about all women in general. And I was like, he just said that. That is awesome.
Yeah, that dude doesn't hold back.
No, he could be a genius and just coming across like playing the fool right now, you know?
Yeah. Well, the thing about Donald Trump is that, and I don't understand why Americans seem to think that the presidency is a businessman, and I don't think that the president should be a businessman. The president is a person who governs. And there's so much more to being a president than being a businessman. You know, I don't know. I don't understand why people see it as a business. It's not. There's so much more than business involved in being the president of the United States. So, or the president of any culture. Just like I hate it when people say the president didn't create enough jobs. Well, the president's job is not to create jobs. The president's job is to govern. It's
Yeah.
it's the private sector. It's our job to create jobs. So I don't understand why that is rhetoric at all. I don't know. So
Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe one good thing about having a businessman and they know how to negotiate, so
sure,
that might
sure,
be a benefit in that. But I don't know, man. Politics is one of those things where you're never gonna find an answer. Really, it's like
no,
talking politics and religion. You know,
yeah,
there's no real answer to that you can come across. At least not one that makes everybody happy.
yeah, yeah. You'll never win. Well, that's just it. You know, people seem to think that that the president is supposed to please everyone. Well, you can't. You can't. There's so much diversity and there's so many different ideas and ideals in this country that there's no way you can please everyone because one decision might benefit millions and then that same decision might not benefit millions. You know, it's just you can't win.
Yeah, you're pretty much running for the opportunity to be hated by half the people in the country.
You pretty much.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Politics.
Yeah.
We have gone a long ways in this
Yeah, we
conversation.
have.
Politics, music, grunge. And before I let you go, I want to ask you one last question that I am going to make a staple of Uncontained to ask all the guests on from here on out. How do you live your life uncontained?
Well, I'm a rootin' tootin' country western punk rock Mickey Mouse wearing ear motherfucker. And that's how I live my life contained.
Well said, my friend. And that is uncontained and not giving a fuck right there. Once again, Scott Arens, thanks for joining me on my brand new podcast, Uncontained. And I look forward to hearing some new music from you on Facebook. Get a CD put out. And you want to put out any contact information, your Facebook, Twitter, anything like that?
Yeah, just 2-Bit Scoundrels on Facebook. Check it out. I don't have a Twitter account yet for that, so.
All right, no tweeting yet, but hit him up on Facebook. Let him know you heard about him here on Uncontained. And thanks again. Have a great night, man. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, you too. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Uncontained, and please be sure to go to iTunes, subscribe, rate, and review. And until next time, live uncontained.